South America has become the new coronavirus epicenter, raising concern over the virus's threat to the survival of 45 to 50 million indigenous people living on the continent. Brazil, the country hardest hit by the coronavirus in South America, has more than 500,000 infections and is home to 800,000 indigenous people from 300 ethnic groups. Remote Amazon towns that lack medical infrastructure to handle the pandemic fear for their communities as illegal workers enter their lands and increase the risk of infection, with the virus already spreading quickly among indigenous people. In February, Brazilian President Jair Bolsonaro unveiled a bill to allow commercial mining and agricultural activities on indigenous land. The environment minister called the pandemic an opportunity to push through deregulation of environmental policy that would benefit the mining industry. Bolsonaro has long argued that indigenous people occupy too much land and that they hinder economic development of mineral resources. His stance has encouraged many to conduct illegal activities around indigenous lands, risking further exposure to Covid-19.
Não é nós que tá saindo, tá levando. Tem pessoas que aproveitam essa doença para invadir terra indígena, garimpeiro, madeireiro, pescador, outras pessoas que estão aproveitando essa doença.
The number of illegal miners on indigenous lands in Brazil is said to be in the thousands.
Eles dizem que há mais de 20 mil garimpeiros dentro da terra indígena. Essas pessoas estão indo e voltando constantemente. Isso faz com que há uma potencialidade, de risco muito forte para populações que são de recente contato isoladas.
COVID-19 has already reached the Kayapo people's land, located in the south of the Amazon River and along the Xingu River. They are now trying to find their own ways to block outsiders from entering.
Pessoas não indígenas entrar na nossa aldeia. A doença não é brincadeira. A doença está matando gente, está matando pessoas. Então nós temos muito medo que essa doença chegue aqui na nossa aldeia. A primeira medida que nós fez é parar a balsa, pedir para não entrar pessoas estranhas, pedir para não sair, para indígenas não sair para a cidade.
The Kayapo recorded dozens of cases of coronavirus among them. But other tribes have also been affected by the new virus. Brazil's federal government announced that there are more than 1,320 infections among indigenous communities, and 51 people have already died from the virus. But the numbers could be much higher. And according to experts, many infections and deaths are not registered. The Articulation of Indigenous Peoples in Brazil estimate that 1,800 indigenous people have been infected with COVID-19 and 178 have died from it. The Amazon region, where most of the indigenous communities dwell, has one of the highest infection rates in the country. The region is also short on hospitals with intensive care units and ventilators for the most severe COVID-19 cases. And there is also a risk of higher vulnerability for native peoples. According to Brazil's APIB, the mortality rate among indigenous people is double that than the rest of Brazil's population. Many believe that the coronavirus can even wipe out some native communities, as they are thought to be biologically more vulnerable to new diseases like what occurred during the colonization era. According to some estimates, 90% of the America's native population was decimated by diseases after the arrival of the first Europeans. The mayor of Manaus, the capital city of the Amazon region, warned that if the government keeps turning a blind eye to the plight of indigenous people against COVID-19, the dark past could repeat itself.
Eu temo genocídio e quero denunciar essa coisa ao mundo inteiro. Ao mundo inteiro. Nós temos aqui governo que não liga para a vida dos índios. Temos aqui governo que não dá bola, que não liga, que não está preocupado com a vida dos índios. Nós temos aqui governo que não valoriza essa cultura, que pensa em outras coisas, pensa no autoritarismo, pensa em outras coisas, mas não pensa nos índios.